Hello, are you out there? It's Mark with HFD, and I'm back with You Were Never Important to the Plot. I'm presuming that's the DM saying that to the player, who in this case is Accomplished Low, who gave us the okay to share their story. Thank you so much. A couple of months back, I was in an Adam Punk themed campaign run by a very experienced dungeon master online. Adam Punk that's a deep reference. That is like Dark Jetsons, right? The Jetsons cartoon. It's like futuristic. Let's see. The punk part means it's dark and gritty, like cyberpunk. The Adam Punk is 1950s style science fiction aesthetic, like silver pointy rocket ships. Yeah, okay. Lost in Space, Jetsons. Okay, it's a super obscure. The DM has a very sandboxy type of DMing style, which I hadn't really seen before, and it took a bit of adjusting and making new characters in his campaign before I could get used to it. You got to make multiple characters in his campaign? That sounds something's going on if you're making more than one character, right? His unique style really put an emphasis on you can do anything as long as you try to do it. That is what a sandbox is. As, for example, in the campaign he ran as a sequel to the Adam Punk campaign, one of the characters became a lich, another a god, etc. Oh, liches and gods. Are you guys playing Dungeons and Dragons? Is this D&D? You don't say it's D&D, but it sounds like it's got fantasy elements. One critically important thing about this is that he does a lot of this stuff off screen, even if it's stupidly important. Ooh. That is not a good idea to do major things off screen. You know, this kind of stuff you do off screen is wrapping up a loose thread from your character's background that never had an important place in the main story plot. It's just your long lost brother wasn't gonna come in and be one of the characters, but you find out what happened to him through a soldier he used to fight with in the war. And he reveals to you that, yes, indeed, your brother did fall in battle and has some heroic story. That whole scene could be done offline, right? Face-to-face or in direct messages is a perfect place for that. Shopping. You're shopping. You don't need to role-play shopping. You can. I wouldn't do it more than like one session, an entire campaign, but anytime a character wants to do a little shopping, but you want to do a little negotiation or ask for a specific thing, that's a great thing to role-play out in the DMs, just you and the Dungeon Master. Maybe not even like live, but just like DMs back and forth over the week before your next session. But important stuff like becoming a lich or a god and like drastically changing the world should not be done offline. Why? Because you're all there to share and tell a story together. I saw a good DM philosophy video recently about the idea of you don't pull out the surprise of your character 8 months later, 30 sessions into the campaign, the final session before the campaign ends, and you're like, boom, guys, it was me all along. And everyone's just like, oh, okay. And you're like, yeah, isn't that cool? And people are like, I mean, it's interesting, sure. I mean, we weren't really able to interact with it or role play with it anyway. It had nothing to do with us because, again, we didn't do anything to like develop that with you. That was just hidden in your mind the whole time. And I guess I can kind of see how that influenced your decisions. So good on you for good role play, but we didn't recognize it as good role play at the time. It's not a 2-hour movie where the surprise ending, you get to think back to what you just watched over the last, 95 minutes and you go, oh, it's been 8 months. People don't remember how you role played 16 sessions ago. So it'll be almost completely lost. Way better tying people into important character stories and mysteries from the backstories early on through the first month or two of play. Get all those hidden threads out there, even if they're not resolved, so that the people can like role play along and have some inkling of what's going on in the story. Because you ain't going to surprise somebody 200 hours later in a campaign. It's like, if you really add it all, read all the game notes. You'll see. And people are like, we're not going to do that. We don't care. We've all had our own stories. We've been telling a story together. You're telling a story on your own. No one's at the table for that. So don't don't do really important shit offline. Play with the people you're playing with. Okay. For example, it was a genuine worry for a period of time that the campaign would be finished by the party's wizard, because she was doing a lot of important actions on Discord DMs with the dungeon master. Discord direct messages. We get DMs here, we got DMing here, DM here. Come on, just tippity type direct messages. Which none of us knew about until the wizard told us about it. Oh, that perfectly illustrates the DM philosophy thing I was just talking about. If the wizard hadn't told you, you wouldn't know. And the wizard tells you, and you're just like, oh, that sounds important. And they're like, yeah, it's pretty cool, huh? And you're like, I mean, not really. Had you not told us, we never would have known. If the DM just one day says, hey, guys, campaign's over. It ended last night in the DMs. Me and the wizard finished it up. And you're like, oh, what? We're done? We finished the campaign? What happened? And they're like, it doesn't matter. You knowing what happens doesn't matter. We just did it. It's over, though. See you guys next time. You're like, yeah, it's that absurd. So on top of that, he had some kind of weird homebrew rules. The weirdest being a session redo, which requires the entire party to agree to it. Keep this in mind for later. So like a retcon, listen, you come across a sarcophagus with a massive stone lid, and the thief goes, oh, wait, I've got a crowbar. Remember when we found the orc stash a couple sessions ago? I grabbed a crowbar out of it from the wagon goods they had plundered. Remember, guys? Wink, wink. And the DM's like, yeah, wink, wink. And everyone's like, okay, you got a crowbar. We're retconning that you got that so that at this moment we can do this thing. Totally cool. But retconning an entire session, if you could do that, then you could retcon the entire campaign. Then it really makes it impermanent, everything you've done. I don't think anyone's there for that either. People don't put 200 hours into a campaign over a year to have it all just blow away like dust in the wind on the whim of whoever in the party or the party. Yeah. Big retcons, session retcons? No. Again, no one is there for that. In this campaign, my first character who I really cared about was a wildfire, druid, chaotic, evil raccoon guy who is essentially a prophet trying to convince people that the world must be reclaimed by nature in order to be pure again. I always want to be pure. Right? Yeah. Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Yeah. Frank. He did not last long and quickly got booted from the party by the other members because he yelled at the party's DMPC for not returning a poached endangered animal back to its family. Tracks with your character, right? Druid you yell at people for poaching endangered animals. Were you forced to retire your character? You got booted. I don't like that. That sounds like it's really taking away agency. I don't feel like any player should have to lose a character unless they agree to it. That's definitely like my hot take opinion on that. Is like, even with character death, I don't think a character should ever die unless the character's ready for the player's ready for the character to die, in my opinion. Just because we're not trying to make people feel shitty. It doesn't. It adds to the realism of the game. It's like, no, it doesn't. We're playing a fantasy game. The guy can just get knocked out and just wake up the next day after his friends tend to his very serious injuries where they thought he had died in the big boss fight battle. But he didn't. He's still alive. That's just my take, though. I still wanted to try and continue the story because I love my druid's story. And after asking the DM, he gave me explicit permission to go ahead and continue my evil scheming. Evil scheming? What evil scheming? What is your... Oh, you are evil. I'm sorry. When I read Wildfire Druid, Chaotic Evil Raccoon Guy, that was like so many descriptors that I think I just glossed over the evil part. I'm just like, evil scheming? What evil schemes? Protecting endangered animals is evil? Evil now? What? Okay. Well, that changes things a little bit. It changes things a lot. You're playing evil and your party allows evil. Is your entire party evil? Oh my gosh. Oh no. Now the rest of this is all starting to make sense. This just everything you've written so far. Your evil characters. Ugh. Okay. I'm not disgusted. It's just chaos happens with evil characters because they're out for themselves oftentimes, or they're incredibly violent and destructive to the detriment of a cohesive world building because they're trying to destroy the world, not build the world. All right. Evil scheming, which ended up just me doing fetch quests until I rose up through the ranks of the druids to become essentially a general, leading the druid uprising against the evil factions of the world. Aren't you the evil faction? No, your new character? Sorry. Your new character isn't evil? What? But okay. I still wanted to try to continue his story, the evil guys, because I love my evil druid, and after asking the DM, he gave me explicit permission to go ahead and continue my evil druid schemings, which ended up just me doing fetch quests until I rose up through the ranks of the evil druids and became essentially a general leading the evil druid uprising against the evil factions of the world. Okay, all the while you have created a new character. Am I missing something? In this campaign, my first character who I really cared about. So you do have a second character, but he lets you play your dismissed druid on the side. Crud. Okay. I get what's happening in general. You aren't playing in person though. This is all through play by post. It must be, right? It must be play by post because you mention up above that like everything happens in secret, but this is how you would you kind of complain about that. Is like you the way you phrase it is you don't like that major important things happen in secret, but you're certainly doing it with your retired evil druid, not retired but booted evil druid. Are you bitching about this or are you not, or do you think that's okay? One crucially important thing about this is that he does a lot of stuff off screen, even if it's stupidly important. Yeah, you see, okay, you're not complaining. You're just saying like this is it. I took that as a critique from you. I'm sorry. When I read it, I was like, yeah, that sounds like a really dumb idea. Like it's just me being like, yeah, that sounds stupid. I agree. And you're like, no. This is what we're doing, and I'm doing it as well. It's like, oh, okay. It's just everyone's telling a different story. Oh, you included. Everyone's just doing their own shenanigans. And so you get slop? Oh man. And you do PvP? I'm guessing? Yeah. Oh boy. We're going to hit it all here. Isolated roleplay, evil characters, session retcons. I'm smelling the air. PvP. Let's see here. Where are we at? Okay. During this crusade, the evil druids, would be led to attack the essentially home area for the party, being a world tree under the control of the red faction. Think of a generic evil industrial bad guys. Yeah, that makes sense. And it makes sense that your druids would be against the industrialists. So I like that. My evil druid would be stationed here with a large amount of evil druids to ensure we held it, and to look for a powerful artifact hidden somewhere inside the POI. Place of interest? I've never heard the term POI before. This is I'm old apparently. All you kids in your jargon, POIs, DMs. I had a thought though. The thought was I'm curious though because I'm assuming have a new character that you're playing with the party, but no, you're not mentioning your other character. So you don't have another character. You are just playing in the background. Do the other characters know you're still playing? I'm so confused. Oh man. Either you don't have a second character or I see. You got booted from the party, but everyone agreed that you would still play the character as an antagonist. Okay. Okay. And that is what you're describing you're doing. So that makes sense, but then stuff's not going to go your way. I only say that because like your horror story is kind of like how, oh yeah, my character wasn't important. Well, are you the bad guy? Then you're gonna lose? If I had a bet, you're gonna lose and you're not gonna be satisfied with that story because functionally you are PvPing the entire rest of the party. And that just never goes. That's how you get horror. That's how we get horror stories, kids. That's how horror stories are born, is with PvP and non-cooperative play. Oh my gosh. Okay. At the same time, the party returned to the World Tree to help take it back from the Druids, which I thought would lead to a cool, epic reveal of what? And then showdown from the past party member. Oh, reveal of your character. So they didn't know. Oh my god. You're role-playing your evil druid in secret from everyone else. You guys aren't role-playing together. You're just solo role-playing in a shared universe. Okay. You know, I think it's rare that what you're describing is rare, but it does exist, and I think it goes back like a really long time. I think people have been doing what you're describing for 30, 40 years. I have no doubt. Probably as long as there have been online message boards, this type of place probably existed. It is obscure for sure, and every player's kind of in it for themselves, playing to their own character ends. So shenanigans happen. I don't know what else you'd expect. That's kind of what you're doing. Everyone's just telling their own story. Okay. Right. The epic reveal showdown, which is where things started to go way downhill. Yeah, because as soon as your character got pushed in with everyone else's character, you couldn't drive the story the way you wanted, and they didn't care about your story. Yeah? Am I guessing right? I'm still waiting for the PvP here. At first, the party decided to clear out the town around the tree of the evil druids, which was going fairly well, but slowly because we were trying to be sneaky about it, because there were a lot of evil druids. Again, you say we. I'm guessing you do have a character you just haven't told us about that's with the main party? I know in your mind it's a very clear story, but to us, it is less clear. There is a we there, though, with the party, so I'm assuming we includes you in the party, with some as of yet completely unacknowledged character you have. That's not the evil druid. Eventually, however, we just see two random NPCs that we had never seen before arrive through a portal and start cleaving through the evil druids like a hot knife through butter. Ooh boy. Yeah. Powerful NPCs doing the work of the party, not cool. DMPCs doing the work of the party, not cool. Should never happen. Soon enough, the towns were cleared out, and the party who was trying to be sneaky was snitched on by the evil druids who escaped the slaughter, causing my own evil druid to secretly dominate one of the party's fighters. PvP. There we go. We got it. PvP right there. Chaos complete. No one will be happy. We have introduced PvP to the equation. One who luckily owned essentially a gunship. That's cool. It is a futuristic campaign, so that makes sense. The party eventually ends up walking into my ambush atop the world tree. Your evil druid's ambush, not your party character ambush. Question. Atop the world tree with myself, your evil druid, not your other character, and a group of other powerful evil druids versus the party, or good druids, maybe, if it's a different group, and their new OP allies. Okay. The druids controlled by the DM start off the fight not by doing anything cool or casting a powerful spell, but instead by casting only cantrips and leaving themselves all clumped together. Yeah. The DM's trying to tell a story that they want to in collaboration with all you players. Obviously, you are all working at it together in a sense, but the DM's not an impartial referee. So if he's controlling your evil druid allies, he doesn't have to go along with your story, because you don't necessarily control the evil druids? Question? Yeah. Yeah, I shrug it off, as I have a plan to hurt the party pretty bad, and that's to use the dominated fighter in the gunship to shoot at the party members. Before that happens, the other fighter of the party runs into melee with my druid, and then after it gets to the fighter gunship's turn, period, hanging pregnant pause, what? And then after it gets to the fighter gunship's turn, one fighter runs into melee with your druid, into melee range, and starts to attack your evil druid. Then after it gets to the fighter gunship, the one you've dominated's turns, period. Then what? I had beforehand commanded the fighter to attack his friends. Metagaming. Not you. The other players metagamed you. Oh my god, what a slop fest. But it makes sense because you guys are role-playing in secret from each other. You're able to do massive retcons. You are able to do PvP, play antagonistically. You're able to have hidden characters. Of course, people are going to metagame. Am I right? Hold on. I had beforehand commanded the fighter to attack his friends, and apparently, unknown to me, both fighter and DM were secretly planning in Discord DMs about the way to get around this to kill me instead. Oh my gosh, the broken paragraph above. Before this happened, the other fighter of the party runs into melee with my druid. Then after it gets to the fighter's gunship turn, they colluded. You gave the gunship, the charmed, the dominated fighter gunship's player knew the command you'd given them. That player then shared that information with the other fighter in the DM, using meta knowledge to beat you. What a chef's kiss of RPG slop. If they cheated you. Oh my gosh. Yeah. About ways around this to kill me instead, which ended up being the malicious compliance route, where the fighter gunship shot a missile at the fighter who, with meta knowledge, was conveniently right next to me, which even after I argued that the charm condition wouldn't allow that, you should have argued that it was metagaming. Oh my gosh. The DM brushed it aside saying, oh, that technically doesn't target you. Luckily for me, the fighter gunship rolls in that one and completely misses me. So you'd think I'm in the safe right now? Nope. Because the DM asked the party if they'd like a session redo, which I immediately protest against, because firstly, it'd be entirely unfair in that point, and secondly, I didn't agree to it that it would happen. But nope, the DM said that, oh, since you're the enemy, you don't really matter right now. And the session redo happens, which conveniently went back to right before the roll happened. This time the missile hit and ended up insta-killing my full health, 102 HP, resistant to fire damage druid. Yeah, what's going on is that the other people you are role-playing with want to beat you personally. They're telling their own story. You're not relevant to it. They don't care about the story you're trying to tell. It's not cool of them, but I'm just going to summarize it all right now. I'm just saying, like, I don't know what you thought was going to happen playing in this kind of campaign. You're not. You have to play cooperatively and collectively and try and make each other have a good time, right? Like, it's just like if you just go to a party, you just some party with, family or friends, and every 5 minutes you just scream out at the top. You're like, yeah! And then everyone's just like, what? And looks at you and just, oh, don't worry about it, guys. Just have fun. I'm just doing my thing. Everybody just go back to the party. I'm sorry. This is how I have fun. And then 10 minutes later, Gah! And everyone's like, dude, what are you doing? We're having chips and snacks. We're talking. We're laughing. We're telling stories. We're having drinks. We're having a fun social interaction together. What are you doing? And you're just saying, I'm just doing my thing. This is how I do parties. Everyone will just want you not to be there. And I don't mean like just you. I'm talking to everyone here now. This over here, PvP, not playing together, playing evil characters when the rest of the party isn't evil, playing at odds to each other, secret backstabs, metagaming. It's just making a horror story. You're making a game where people won't feel good. It's just guaranteed. Like, as I say that to anyone who's still listening to me at this point, is anyone surprised that like people come out of this feeling bad? It's not a surprise. And this is why, it's always so, I am so opinionated with all the homebrew stories and all the DM stuff. I've been doing this for years. I have hundreds of videos. I'm not particularly popular because a lot of people don't like my takes because I'm very opinionated and I'm very wag my finger. But it's just like ultimately, when you do these things, metagaming, bringing your personal traumas and proclivities into the game world with you, PvPing, playing against the group, DMPCs, all these things are just ways to exercise control and abuse other people. Not abuse the characters, to abuse one another. It's like hazing on a sports team. You go play a sport in real life to have fun playing a sport that you love and you're passionate about, that you really like. And then on this team, you're hoping at the very least people are just polite to each other. You don't all have to be best friends. You're hoping you'll make some good friends on your sports team. But then there's hazing. These brutal, cruel, bullying rituals, humiliation rituals that some players do to others. And you just go, why is that here? Like, we're here to play basketball. We're here to play volleyball, soccer, foot. Why are we abusing each other? Like, outside of the context of the game field, where maybe like, there's physical contact and stuff like that. We're supposed to be on the same team. Like, what is this about? Why? It's about cruelty. It's about amusement of suffering. And so, and I get so many people who are like, well, in my table, PvP is just fine. And it's just like, that's great. You're the miracle one. Like, yeah, I've read 400 horror stories about how PvP is blown up in people's face, but you guys got it. Cool. And maybe you do, but for like 90+% of the people out there, it will be abusive. And that's why, like, I'm so opinionated. That's why I'm the guy who just says that was fucking stupid, is because why invite other people to hurt each other, to be cruel, to be dismissive, to be abusive? Why is that allowed? And very much in our roleplay world, oftentimes we're spending prolonged periods of time on a session-by-session basis, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, over prolonged periods of times, months and years sometimes for a single campaign, with people who are not our family or not necessarily our friends, oftentimes with strangers. That's why it's so critical that we follow good roleplay practices, is because some of the folks are just straight up strangers. So the ability to abuse, to predate on, to stalk, bully, the worst aspects of ourselves can come out. That it's essential that we really comport ourselves, conform the roleplay to the safety rails that people like me and so many others in our community, on YouTube's, on Reddit, even in the manuals, even in like the manuals where it's like, this is how you should roleplay. These are some general rules. Have session zeros. Make sure you have safety polls and guidelines and those things in place, because abuse will happen given enough time and enough variance in the people that you're exposed to in roleplay. Abuse is gonna happen. So use the guide rails. Don't play evil characters if it's not an evil campaign. Don't do PvP. Don't do meta knowledge. Don't take away the autonomy of people over their characters. The list goes on, but we'll just talk about it again and again and again. But like, this was always going to happen. What did you think was going to happen? What was going to happen was exactly what happened to you. And it was never going to be anything different than that. Of course. It's just people being abusive to each other. That's why I do my little channel of just talking and just saying the same things over and over for years, hundreds of stories. Because people just don't get it. They just don't get what's going on. At this point, I was completely done and demanded from my DM how he thought any of this was fair, and I wanted an explanation. To which he simply responded, "Oh well, you were never really important to the plot." Which I just ended up leaving the campaign there on the spot. I apologized afterwards to him because I did leave him with some gnarly worded messages about how unfair I felt I was treated, but I don't know. I think it's good if you said some like poorly chosen words to apologize. That's awesome. I think that's good for you to just let it go. I don't know the DM's ever going to apologize, but I wouldn't wait around for it either. I think you'll get much more catharsis and healing by seeking forgiveness for your own wrongdoings than waiting to give forgiveness to someone else. In this case, and you saw what happened. I hope. I mean, you. I hope you are well. Legitimately, I wouldn't let this weigh on you. It was a gnarly situation. I would have been pissed too. But yeah, if you said bad words, some mean words, apologize, and then let it go and move on. And my recommendation to you or anyone else who's made it to the end of the video is make sure you're in a group that has a code of conduct, that knows there's no way to know what will happen, but know what you're all expected, what is expected of all of you. Everyone is included. Always inclusive. Everyone's welcome. There should never be any option for that. We talk about the LGBT whatever plus acceptance. It's like you don't need to have a rainbow flag up on the wall behind you, but just know that anyone that's represented by the rainbow flag is allowed. That anyone of any nationality, of any religion, of any color, everyone is allowed. If that's not your default setting, you don't belong there with those people. I don't know why you'd want to be with those people. Secondly, have some rules for the role play that is expected. Right? What level of violence? What level of sexuality? What level of swearing? How serious the tone of the campaign should or shouldn't be? Can we be silly? Can we not? These things that are expected. PvP, is it allowed or not? Can we have evil characters mixed in? Does the party have to work collaboratively together? Like, play any character you want, but make sure there's a reason the rest of the party would keep them around. That's a really good rule we talk about all the time. No flirting IRL with other people at the table. People aren't there to get hit on or have dates, right? Things like that. Because that has nothing to do with role play. But you're a bunch of, teens or 20-somethings, you got 4 guys and 2 girls, a lot of lonely people out there. And then the next thing you find out a year later from one of the girls is that all 4 of the guys over the course of that year hit on her and made passes at her. She wasn't there to fucking find a date, guys. Like, I'm talking, I know a lot of guys, watch the YouTubes and in general role play, but you get why those rules matter is because you think you were just shooting your shot. Every fucking guy on the planet also thought he was shooting a shot, and some woman gets exhausted because it's just like, my God, just please, I know I don't want to date any of you. I'm just here to role play. For the love of goodness, just leave me be, right? It's a form of abuse. It's like psychological punishment when, even something as innocuous and removed from role play as that. So make safe conditions. Choose safe air quotes safe people. I know that's hard to do, but like just if everyone agrees and says, yes, I will abide by these terms and these conditions, then that's step one to vetting them to get in the door. And then if people are egregious, you prune them off. They need to get booted out of the party. You keep the people that gel well and protect each other. And then you, over time, casually invite in a new person, try them out to fill out your ranks so that you have those 4, 5, 6 solid role players. And even if you're not all best friends, you know that you can rely on each other to not be bigoted, to be good role players, and to play within the role play safety boundaries you've all set together. And then you can get years of smooth sailing when you have that trust level, but it does take work and a little bit of luck. Edit. Just some important things I thought to note is that this was my first time ever playing with this DM, and I was not informed about 90% of his rules or expectations. With the only rule that applied was just, if you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. B, this campaign/style of play encouraged backstabbing, and the DM was 100% okay with characters acting against the party. C, I was never given any expectations that my druid was supposed to be sidelined out of the campaign by the DM up until him saying that I was not important at the very end. Yeah. I'll give you a little karma there for that. Wow, what a powerful story. That was a long one, 36 minutes. Holy cows. I'm so sorry, folks, I talked so long. Listen, protect yourself, protect others. That's, if I had to get philosophical and spiritual, probably the only real decent thing you'll ever be able to do in your life is to keep yourself safe and try and keep other people safe. Probably the best thing your energies in your entire life will ever be put to. That's it. All right, folks, if you watched, thank you. Take care.